All right, so this is a teacher talk regarding this passage from the book There. So you've heard the audio, you've listened to it, so now let's kind of talk about it a little bit. Remember that Dene is here and he's proposing a video oral history for the Native people of America, and that's what he's trying to get. Let's kind of look at what happens in this passage as Dene is waiting in the office, right? So the first thing that kind of comes to mind here that I'm noticing is Rob says that he is looking into some places over in West Oakland, and he says it's dirt cheap over there. Then Dene clenches his jaw and blinks a slow blink at this dirt cheap. So Dene is actually offended by this. He is from West Oakland. That's where he's from. This guy's saying no one's really from there, no one's there, it's dirt cheap, like it's trash, is what he's saying. And that's where Dene is from. So we've got the stranger telling him that his place is dirt cheap. Definitely has a negative connotation to it. Also, he goes on to say that no one's really from there, but Dene is from there. So this is probably really stirring some emotions up in Dene. Now, Rob wants to buy this dirt cheap land so that he can change it, so that he can turn it into something else. He wants to probably commercialize this land in some way. This is happening all over the place. All over, even here in Charlotte or in Huntersville, a place that maybe was a low-income housing or had, let's just take that example, a low-income housing area gets bought by a corporation and it gets renovated and turned into like some hipster new condos or apartments, and the people that live there have to move out and find somewhere else to go because somebody has bought this dirt cheap land. Also, this is sort of similar to people moving onto Indian territory and pushing them out, right? Remember, Dene is a Native American, and this is something that's very real to him. This is something that he's trying to record, this audio history, this video history, to make sure that it doesn't happen to more people. So that's where Dene is coming from. He's thinking about the Native Americans and how this area has been taken away. Then we come down here, and Rob mentions, he says, you know what Gertrude Stein says about Oakland. Dene shakes his head no, but actually knows. Actually, Google quotes about Oakland when researching for his project, and he knows exactly what this guy is about to say. So why do you think Dene did this? Why do you think he didn't say anything? What does this reveal about him? Is he private? Is he non-confrontational? What does this tell us about him as a person? Why does he shake his head that he doesn't know what's going on? I'm curious about that. That makes me think. Gives me a little bit of a question. Then, when Rob tells us what the quote is, he says, there is no there, and kind of a whisper with a goofy open mouth smile that Dene wants to punch. So what's the tone here? Why is this guy whispering and smiling in a goofy way? What is motivating him? So think about what we just talked about before, right? He's saying there is no there because he wants this land to be a place that he can change. He wants to change this area, and it doesn't matter what's there to him. He's saying there's nothing there. It doesn't even matter anymore. Because to him, this is a place that he can make a profit off of, that he can look at later on. Even a little bit further down here, it says he probably used the quote at dinner parties and made other people like him feel good about taking over neighborhoods they wouldn't have had the guts to drive through years ago. So he's making some assumptions about Rob here, and so that the reader can make these same assumptions about him. Is this painting Rob in a positive light? No, not at all, right? He's saying that he probably says it and he probably takes it from that point of view that there's nothing there anyways, so that he can feel good, so that he knows that he can take this land over and it doesn't really matter. And he probably uses this quote in dinner parties when he's talking to other people they're the same as him. And he makes this assumption. Now, right here, what did Stein actually mean when she said this? Well, he tells us right here that what Stein meant when she said it, that was this place where she grew up in is different now. Things changed from her childhood. There was development that happened there, and the place that she grew up in is no longer there. It's gone. So the there that she knew is no longer there. So is this a bad thing, or is this just an observation? What's the tone behind that? What do you think? Well, I mean, Gertrude Stein wrote an autobiography, so maybe the tone was a little nostalgic. She was writing about the place where she grew up and her childhood memories, and those childhood memories no longer exist because the place doesn't exist. Or the memories are there, but she has nothing to support those memories anymore because the land has changed so much. And I think that's probably what Gertrude Stein meant when she said that there is no there when she's talking about her childhood and her growing up, that it's just been developed and it's changed a lot over time. Then we have Dene, and the quote is important to Dene. So he takes this quote to heart and he applies it to the Native people. Remember what his project is here. His goal, his purpose here is to get a grant so that he can record Native Americans' journey, so that we can remember and reflect on their memories and the things that have happened to them. So he says, you know, this is really important. This is there. He said, Native American people in this country, their land has been developed over, buried, ancestral land, glass, concrete, wire, steel, unreturnable covered memories. So their land has been developed over and taken from them. It's been changed. Even their ancestral lands that were important to them, to different tribes, are now just a memory. And these memories are covered in the steel and concrete of the construction that happened in these areas. And many of the places that these memories took place in are gone. They're lost, and they'll never be able to be retrieved. This takes us back to why he's doing this in the first place. He wants to keep the memories alive, even if the there is no longer there. He's trying to keep his history alive in some way. That is what he's doing. So that's my teacher talk on this passage. Those are some of my opinions, and you can certainly have different opinions. This is just me explaining some of this stuff to you. You make sure that you go through and answer all these questions. If you want to come back and listen to this again, feel free to. You can pause it and you can write down your ideas. Don't write down exactly what you hear me say. Come up with your own thoughts. Have your own reactions to what I've said.